Thank you very much for shuffling your order. Unfortunately, I have to go to a friend's funeral this morning, and I am a pallbearer at that. So
yeah, no, I'm really sorry about that, and thank you for coming in anyway. You know,
and I want to cut quickly to the questions. You've got my submission. At the end of that submission, it talks about the future of Cathedral Square, things that might have to be done. I'd be quite happy to use the 5 minutes or the 4.5 minutes left for questions, and I would then respond to those.
That's fine. Phil.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for coming, and circumstances too for you. One, you make several points. One, you refer to delaying repair of heritage buildings rather than knocking them down and starting anew. Any particular buildings or areas that you would like to use as examples there?
There are buildings which I think you've already indicated that you're going to put on hold, and I would agree with that process. That the old government buildings, leaving those a bit longer, then they have been shored up against the elements and won't deteriorate too badly. If I was representing Christchurch Civic Trust, I'd be saying we really miss the heritage buildings that have come down. We want to minimise that. If we can minimise it by delaying the process so that they can be repaired, that is all to the good. We've lost too much of our heritage already.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Ali?
Am I able to ask a question that's slightly outside the submission, but in Chris's area of expertise?
Transport.
Yeah. I was reading your opinion editorial that was written around the time that the ECAN review or investigation into short-term rail transport, particularly for the northern part of Christchurch. So it was in about February. Often I hear from people who know a great deal more than me that it is cost prohibitive, based primarily on the lack of population and so forth. However, in your opinion editorial, you do say it's something from memory that you think we need to look at.
Yes, I'm absolutely determined that someone is going to look at that who's in a decision-making situation. To me, it's quite a no-brainer that we have a corridor that's access-controlled corridor, which means you can push a lot of people through that corridor on the rail system without conflict with other forms of traffic. The capital costs for changing what we got there to what we need to be able to get a commuter service going compares very favourably when you start looking at building motorways. Mm. That's a short answer. I can give you a lot more.
No, I ask because of our ward, particularly in the north, being affected by the Northern Arterial and the land purchases and the costs of the road of national significance.
Well, to me, the idea of looking at a temporary improvement to put a passenger rail service on, then can it again when you've got the motorways back, is very, very limited thinking. I wonder what is between the ears sometimes.
Has anyone else got any questions? Yanni?
Thank you. Relevant to that, to your submission in terms of deferring things, and talking about the anyway.
Sorry, excuse me while I get my geonet out. Carry on.
No, I was just really interested because you've talked about renegotiating with government and the city, but a number of senators have said that. They've said just renegotiate with government, but that doesn't involve the community. That isn't necessarily done through any public process. In fact, if you go back to the cost share, it was done in secret. So I just wonder whether you feel that there's a need to actually re-engage with the community over the future of our central city and the prioritisation of the costs.
I do. And in the process, if we're looking at Cathedral Square in particular, I think it's time for you as leaders of our city to perhaps engage with the public again and maybe a focus, share an idea on the Cathedral Square. If you are going to go along with shifting the primary focus of Cathedral Square as a meeting and greeting place and a civics functions space, and putting that into Victoria Square, and to change Victoria Square to be able to do that, you are consigning Cathedral Square to a very uncertain future, and you're ruining an already existing decent square in Victoria Square. So yes, please re-engage. Listen to your public and talk to the government.
That's great. I don't think there's anyone around the table that would disagree with that. So thank you very much.
I did do a little supplementary, which might really just saying what I was going to do and go for questions.
We'll have that. But thank you very much for that. I mean, this is not a satisfactory process, and I don't think that anyone thinks that it is. So we will see what we can do better.
Well, when
next
your
time.
officers have engaged with other professional bodies like the Institution of Engineers and others like that, we have a forum downstairs and we have a good half an hour or an hour or so of discussion. That's very good.
Well, we wanted to have a forum to deal with all of the New Brighton ones, but that was misunderstood as being treated differently from everyone else. So unfortunately, not everyone is in the same headspace as others, but perhaps a forum on these sorts of issues might actually be a much better idea. You're quite right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.